Well, fantastic Friday evening, everyone. Welcome to the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, brought to you by Rocky Mountain Sports Network, and of course, sponsored by the amazing Real Morgan Trinkets. We'll get into all of that a little bit later, man. But man, I'm still living off this 28-14 win, and Bo Nix dealing, looking fantastic. Keep that in your mind, Broncos fans. That's a little bit more of what we need to see, man. I was excited after we went post game. I was excited after we broke it down, and now we need to look forward. This is a Baltimore Ravens team. We're going to hit the road. We're going to hit the road running, and I'm going to hit the road with my two horsemen this evening. I want to say hello this evening first to Mr. Trevor Salzman. Trevor, how are we doing this evening?
Doing well, Keith. Again, it's a tough opponent on the road against Baltimore. It's kind of an odd time because you turn around as soon as the game's over in Baltimore, and on Tuesday it's a trade deadline. So we were just kind of talking backstage a little bit of kind of trade scenarios. I think me and Keith swapped minds there for a minute. But no, I mean, I think that again, it's just a great time to be a Broncos fan and be positive, but keep in mind, it's the trade deadline's coming up, so we'll see. I don't know how much this game will impact, what moves the Broncos will make, because again, they have a ton more games to make up for it. But we shall see, and can't wait to get into it. Maybe they surprise us on Sunday. Who knows?
Yeah, or would it be a surprise? Albert, we're going for 3 in a row. We've been talking about streaks a couple of times this season. The Broncos are looking pretty dang good. Well, they're tied with the Baltimore Ravens at 5-3. And welcome to the show, man. How excited are you about heading off to Baltimore, my friend?
I'm very excited because after Sunday, the Ravens are one game behind us because they're underestimating us. They're resting and they're not putting any effort in it. I think they will come over to a big, big surprise.
Wow, that's a big thing to say. Baltimore just lost, just a heartbreaker versus a 1-6 team in the Cleveland Browns, home of Jerry Jeudy, by the way, if anybody's keeping track. But the 1-6, the Browns end up going out there with Jameis Winston getting the win against the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson didn't look very happy, but you're not the only one who thinks this way. Paul's coming in saying, excuse me. Paul's coming in saying Baltimore is looking past the Broncos, or is Jackson really banged up? Trevor, I know that you've probably been in tune with the reports of, Lamar Jackson maybe not practicing like we expected coming into this game. What are your thoughts? Paul's thinking maybe they're looking past us. Maybe he's actually banged up. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I don't know the Baltimore's looking past the Broncos because again they lost to Cleveland this past week, so I think they're more hungry for a win as well than any team around the NFL right now. I think definitely Lamar Jackson's banged up, but here's the thing: there's a lot of players that are banged up around the league. I think I told this to Graham in a DM the other day. I said, Lamar Jackson, he's so dang good that it don't matter if he practices. Like, I mean, if he participates towards Thursdays, or Fridays, towards the end of the week, then that's what matters, because so that he's active and able to play on Sunday. But again, you at this time of the year, there's teams around the league that are trying to protect their players, and practice is not as important. Getting ready for the game. I'm not saying practice is not important, but health and keeping these guys healthy is definitely something that's more important for sure. And but again, don't sleep on Lamar Jackson's injuries though, because that could play a factor in this game as far as his mobility.
I want to get your thoughts as well, Albert, on this. Did not practice, full practice, expected obviously to be playing this Sunday. What are your thoughts on one Lamar Jackson maybe taking kind of a little bit of time off to either recoup or just to take a little bit of time off? What are your thoughts?
The only reason you are not practicing is because you're hurting. Because you want to keep having that chemistry with the players, keep practicing, fine-tuning it, come up with some new, because you face a different team, so you want to have some different attacks, maybe different schemes. You only can do that when you practice. If you're not practicing because either you are very hurt or very, very, underestimating the opposing teams. And I think it is the first. He is hurt, and the only way you can improve is by practicing.
Yeah, and my thought as well, a newly acquired Deontay Johnson, you're trying to get him in their mix as far as your wide receiver scheme, or the offensive scheme as a wide receiver, I should say. The last thing you want to do is not practice with the guy. This is detrimental to the trade that you just made. And honestly, I think this is a pretty big piece to what they have as far as wide receivers are concerned, because it's their tight ends that really dominate the headlines and the stat lines a lot of times. And Deontay Johnson could be a key contributor on offense, an offense that's already humming, but really humming between two main guys. I'm sure we'll get into as this podcast continues, guys. But yeah, I take it the same way that you do, Dutchie. This is practice that a guy needs to be in there, needs to be a part of. We don't like when quarterbacks tap out and, because they're tired and head to the sidelines. Well, now's not the time to be tapping out because you just want a little extra time to recoup. If you're capable, you're out there, you're practicing, you're trying to fine tune and get better, I think, like Albert said, in order to try to, get that playoff run. You're only a 5-3 team. You're not the Kansas City Chiefs sitting out there at 7-0, where maybe you feel like you can coast in some way or fashion. There's a team that's in the hunt at this point, and it's a team that's kind of, again, beaten me because they came off that Cleveland Browns loss. I think there's a team that's going to be very, very excited. But you know what else? Got to get to the posse, man. Posse is excited as well. We got Ernie Mays coming in here and saying, "Go Broncos country only. Bo Nix for 6. Hello, 4 horsemen," or at least the 3 of us. Jody couldn't make it. He's hanging with the kids this evening. Maybe we'll see him in the chat, but we're always 4 horsemen in heart. So I appreciate that. So Roy is also jumping in here saying, "Hey there, horsemen and all of the posse." Mr. Graham coming in from the great K&K Sports Show saying, "Good evening." Good evening, Mr. Graham. Good to see you. Ernie Mays is already coming in with some predictions, and I'm sure we'll get more later, but I don't know if Ernie Mays is maybe not being able to hang around. His early prediction is 21-10. Broncos get the win against the Ravens. So just keep that in mind. And Graham's keep in mind that it's 1 p.m. Eastern time, which makes it 11 a.m. Or Mountain time. So for all of you in the mountain region, don't get up and get going too late and thinking you're getting a 2 p.m. game. So I appreciate it, Graham. Check it out. It's Miss Pearl Heater saying, hey all, I am back. Good to see you, Pearl. I appreciate it, you jumping in here and being part of us. I'm excited to talk about the Real Morgan trinkets, and we'll get on page on that a little bit later as well. So just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody real quick. I got to get caught up on these comments because you guys are kind of blowing it up. Let's just start getting into it, gentlemen. This is going to be a matchup beyond matchups in a lot of ways. The Baltimore Ravens have one of the worst defenses and one of the best offenses in the league. That gets them to a 5-3 record all the way across the board. But that best offense that they've been rolling with is going up against one of the best defenses. And we're talking about a Bo Nix offense that continues to hit strides. We're talking about rookie of the month for the month of October, one Mr. Bo Nix. So just speaks to where these two teams are heading, where they're going, and the collision course that we're having this 11 a.m. Mountain Time Sunday battle in Baltimore. Trevor, I know that I've kind of held you off quite a bit. I see that Phil's jumping in here with some thoughts as well, but I want to get your initial thoughts coming into this game, and I'll let you just take it from there. Any initial thoughts? Let's just start running on some topic here.
Yeah, I mean, for me, again, when we say the Ravens defense, is one of the worst in the league. They're actually one of the best, if not the best team against stopping the run. So Denver's, again, and they're gonna have to get their passing game going real early, and it's gonna have to be more efficient than I think it ever has been. This is a Ravens defense again. They're gonna hold the Broncos running backs. They're gonna make them work for their every carry. And this is a Broncos team. This is one of my concerns in this game is the Broncos have been so inconsistent running the football lately. And so you're going against one of the best defenses in the league as far as stopping the run. That's a concern for sure. And because now you're probably expecting Bo Nix probably going to see that game where he passes 30, 40 plus times. He's just going to have to be efficient, and you have to take what you get with him. And he's going to have to keep up with one of the best quarterbacks in the league with Mr. Lamar Jackson. So for me, trying to run the football, you're going to try, but doesn't mean that's going to always happen. Bo Nix is going to have to be efficient in this one because, again, the Ravens' pass defense is one of the worst in the league for sure.
Yes.
So I mean, you definitely want to take advantage of that. Guys should be getting open in this game. I expect Bo Nix to be, just throwing the ball around, spreading the ball around, and capitalizing on what he did on this past Sunday.
Yeah. I think there's some opportunities, and you're absolutely right. I spoke a half-truth. They're one of the worst passing defenses out there. As far as a run defense, they've been pretty good. But I think, at that being said, Albert, I know there's one name that I'm going to say. I'm going to say it, try to as best I can. But Madubike is a guy that we were looking at as a possible free agent, or a guy that we could go after in order to beef up this defensive line in the offseason. We went different route, and we're pretty happy with the route that we did go. But that's one key guy that they have on their defensive line. Michael Pierce, their nose tackle, is out on IR. Travis Jones, he's dealing with I believe a knee, if I remember correctly, knee or ankle. Hit the right defensive end, he's questionable. His backup, Brent Urban, is out with a concussion. I think there's more opportunity when we start looking at run capabilities for the Denver Broncos offense, even though this defense has been pretty stout in the Baltimore Ravens. What is your thoughts, Albert?
My thoughts is from the get-go, you have 3 or 4 passes, and if they really connect, guess what? It will open automatically the defense and the run defense, because what do you have to do? Are you going to keep focusing on the run and get messed over by all the deep balls? No, you have to split your attention, and guess what? Then it will open up. You have to be very strategic in how you play the game, and if they are really stout in the run, then open it with some passing plays, and then they have to drop back, because otherwise you will keep coming, and that is how I would play it.
Yeah, very good, man. Albert's looking to open this up, passing right off the gate, trying to open up that defense and trying to get some running lanes for these running backs to get it going. Phil McLaughlin is coming in here. He's dropping stars, guys, so we got to give him a little bit of love here. He says, "Good evening, Keith, Rocketman, and Dutchie." He says, "No way they are overlooking us. Pretty sure our D can play as well as Cleveland. Our big concern will be if Nix and Peyton can play as well as they did last week." Well, let's flip it over to the offensive side for a second here. Trevor, your thoughts. Are Nix, are Peyton up to the task of being that offensive that we saw last week versus Carolina, to be this offense that's continued to take strides, to be the offense that's put Bo Nix's rookie of the month here? Can we continue to see that against a much more formidable opponent than we've been going up against in one Baltimore Ravens football team? What are your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely can. I think this is a very just not favorable matchup, but it's more of a it's a fine matchup for Bo Nix to get going again this week and still have a very solid week. Again, I think he needs to continue to build upon, stack those weeks up. We know what Bo Nix can do, mobile wise, getting out of the pocket and taking off and run. He's gonna have to probably do that in this game a little bit too. But again, it's what he can do in the pocket. His wide receivers get open. don't drop the ball, and and just get that passing game going, because again, it's going to be one of those games where it's going to be tough running the football. And it's unfortunate that's what Bo Nix is kind of having to deal with this year for most of this season, inconsistency in the run game. And so being that this matchup is more favorable in the passing game, I think that Bo is definitely, there's pressure on Sean Payton and Bo Nix to kind of be creative and, just kind of get that passing game going. And I think definitely this is a week where this can definitely happen. Hopefully the offensive line can hold up as well. This is a Ravens defense that I wouldn't sleep too much on. They're still, I think, top 10 in pressures this year. So, get the ball out quickly, let Bo kind of do his thing, set his feet. And, I think hopefully, Bo Nix can settle in early, because I think it's going to be important on the road in Baltimore.
Very good. Albert, just to add to that, Jalen Armour Davis, cornerback for the Ravens, questionable. Also one Marlon Humphrey. He is also questionable cornerback for the Baltimore Ravens. So my question is this. What do you see more likely? Do you see more likely that the Bo Nix has more than 35 attempts passing in this game, or that we have a 100-yard rusher in this game? I know that we need to be balanced on both sides of the ball. It would be nice to say we have both in this particular game. Maybe that's the direction you're going to go. Hopefully I'm not stealing your thunder. What are your thoughts? What do we see in this game, sir?
Yeah, we definitely have to go for the I think for the deeper balls. Last week, Bo Nix had 11 targets. He threw to 11 different targets. So we will see that again. And we might have at least 100 yards rushing, but I think the most will come from Bo Nix himself. The dual threat. Yeah, I do believe that. And if the passes are going to connect in the beginning and we don't have those drop passes like we have last week, the run game will open up because they have to. They cannot just keep focusing on the run, because if we do that, Bo Nix will keep throwing. And guess what? If we have 4 or 5 touchdowns because of that, they have to adjust to it. So I think we can have more than 100 rushes and Bo Nix passing for 35.
More than 35 pass attempts. So I'll go over to Trevor. Same question, man. More likely, both. What are your thoughts? Can we get a 100-yard rusher in this game? A game that's going to be, in your thoughts, very difficult to get going. But man, if we start opening it up over the top, as Dutchy's saying, man, I think there's opportunity underneath to get this running game going. What are your thoughts on this one, bud?
Yeah, I mean, let me go back just to the Cleveland game real quick. Well, this is what Baltimore's defense allowed: 321 passing yards, and that's Jameis Winston at quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, and only 80 rushing yards total. So there you go. There's an example of their previous game of just how that defense is and what's going to have to happen and take place for the Denver Broncos to come out with the victory. I think passing wise, there's definitely opportunity there. Just running the football. You can try to run the football, but we seen last week against the Carolina Panthers, just we got to be honest here, the Broncos struggled to run the football. And that's one of the worst defenses all the way around in the league in Carolina. So, you can only imagine going up against Baltimore's tough run defense, how that's going to go. So I think Bo Nix is going to have to be huge in this game. I think this might have to be, if the Broncos are going to come out with a victory in this one, I think Bo Nix is going to have to play probably his best football of the year in this game. I think for the Denver to come out victorious in this one, because again, you're going up against one of the top offenses in the league. So you have to keep up with them, play turnover-free football, can't afford interceptions, and don't get happy feet. Set your feet. Guys get open, quick throws, and suddenly, hopefully, you get momentum in the passing game. But this game just sets up for that passing game and Bo Nix to, potentially show what he's got even further this season.
Getting into these comments, and as Albert pointed out, I think we have a few new names in here as well. So just getting through. But Graham's thoughts is we need to run the ball, keep Lamar off the field. That's his. He's not the first person to ever think this is a good idea, trying to keep a guy as explosive as Lamar Jackson off the field. Can you ground it and pound it? As he pointed out a little bit earlier, only one guy on their active roster that is without injury starting this game as far as the defensive line is concerned. So there may be opportunity. We have Jesus Save coming in here and saying, for you guys, who got a win? And, you're a little bit early. We typically hold that to the very end. I will say, if you want to drop your prediction in, we'll certainly splash it up on the screen right now, especially if hey, we all got busy lives. If you're having to run out here, catch the rest of the podcast a little bit later, we understand. Go ahead and drop your prediction in. You'll get our predictions by the end of the show. So we appreciate you jumping in here. Michelle Knoppers, someone I see, just about every single show, saying evening to us all. Sean Ward, man, you got a paragraph here. Sup, guys, go Broncos country. Really looking forward to these next 2 weeks. Everyone is doubting us and our rookie QB. So much hate out there, like we are a small team. I'm glad to see we are underdogs in both these games. You guys rock. God bless. Hashtag South Texas loves Bo for sure. And hashtag Go Broncos. Well, Sean Ward, we love you as well and appreciate you dropping your paragraph in here. But I think that's very true. I think there's a little turning of the tide, though, now. Man, there wasn't much love to be found at the beginning of the year. Albert, what are your thoughts? Do you think that the national media are maybe coming around? We got Bo Nix getting accolades now. We're starting to feel a little bit better about our team. How's the national media feeling about this team? Do you agree with Sean here?
I definitely do believe with Sean, because the national media, I think the Broncos are now one of the hottest team in the league. We have won 5 games of the last 6. There's only one other team that can say the same thing. And they're 7-0. So, yeah, I think the Broncos are not silently anymore climbing into the ranks. They're changing their minds on Bo Nix. You see that from all types of commenters. I saw an video this evening from one of those gurus, and he said in the beginning that Bo Nix could be the person, and everybody was laughing about him, and he also got a lot of grief because he said, "That's right," but he is now laughing because he has proven that his comments were correct. I just don't know what his name is. I will find the video again and we'll send you the link.
Very good.
We are a team that isn't rising and one of the hottest team right now. They say that this game, the Broncos and the Ravens, should be the highlight of this weekend.
It's, if you look at the map as far as the game that's going to be played, it's taken over this map, man. This is a highly anticipated game heading into this weekend. Everyone's going to be wanting to watch it from coast to coast. I think for East Coast teams or East Coast fans, Baltimore Ravens are a big name, and the Denver Broncos, well, they're just starting to come around and starting to get heated up themselves. Scott's coming in here and says, I believe Bo is fairly level-headed and will take control of this offense. Karen's coming in here and saying, good evening, all. I can't wait to hear the words when we beat the Ravens. Each game is different, and who knows if and how Lamar Jackson plays. We'll start getting over to the offense for the Baltimore Ravens here in just a few minutes, and the defense of this Denver Broncos a little bit more. But I want to get one more, Karen, but thank you so much for joining us over on YouTube. I'm going to jump back over to Graham, though, and he has a simple question for this Denver Broncos offense. I'm going to start with you, Trevor. Troy Franklin, sit him, yes or no? There's a lot of options for this Denver Broncos offense. Sean Payton wasn't necessarily all that happy with, if you listen to the media this week, with the Denver Broncos. It was kind of like one of the change the people or change the people type of situations. Are we seeing a change in the wide receiver room coming into this game?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that you need to let because Sean Payton has also talked about, before I get to my point, he has also talked about, hey, we can't just develop the quarterback. We've also got to develop the wide receivers and the rest of the rookies around him. So that's Troy Franklin's part of that. So you have to, he's not going to learn anything by sitting on the sideline. He's got to be in there. Those drops were a problem in college, guys. I mean, it really was. Go back to look at his drop rate. It was pretty rough at Oregon for him. But that doesn't mean that he can't improve. And I think there's something there with Troy Franklin. We've seen him and Bo Nix start connecting a little bit more and start seeing him kind of make more plays. Why take him out now? You need him going forward in the future. Remember, the Denver Broncos traded up for him in the draft. They did it for a reason, not for him to sit on the sidelines, but for him to play. You got to get these. This is why I'm against acquiring a veteran wide receiver. You have to give these young guys time and give them time to develop with Bo Nix as well. It can't just be about developing Bo Nix. It's got to be about developing the rest of these young guys around him. That's what's going to need. That's what's going to help this team not only right now, but in the long haul as well, as you have investments in some of these guys like Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin going forward. We need to start seeing these guys see the field more and be more consistent. And they're only going to do that by seeing the field, not sitting on the sidelines.
Graham's just like, he could be our producer this evening. Graham's over usually there producing on the K&K side, but he's got some great questions. I want to throw this one over to you, Albert. He says, yeah, we need to see more of Javonte and McLaughlin too. Your thoughts, man? Jaleel McLaughlin has been doing pretty well when he's been getting touches. He's been getting scores. He's been getting more yards per game, or per average, I should say. What are your thoughts, man? Do we need to see more from Javonte in this game, or do we need to see more from Jaleel McLaughlin in this game? What are your thoughts, Albert?
Yeah, most times with McLaughlin, it is those speed plays.
Mm-hmm.
And with the speed plays, he'll find the openings. With Javonte, it is bruising the defense, wearing them down, and that is what Javonte is doing. Yeah, you get less yards per game, and once in a while he breaks out, but still, Javonte is our number one running back with the most yards. Even although McLaughlin has some of the plays that 20, 21 yards plus. So you use them both for different reasons. And Javonte, it is to wear those defenses down, because in the long run, McLaughlin will get this shot and get that open play, because the bruising has happened, and now you can get open field. And keep going with what you're doing. And when Estimate comes back, now you have two bruisers. Makes it even better.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm a little bit more of a two running back, mentality. Sean Payton's much more along your side of things, Albert, though. He loves the three running backs if you can get them all involved and be part of the rotation in a game day setting. But I've been always more of that two back type of system. But you're right, man. I think that Javonte does play the bruiser in this game. I think that Jaleel does play the speed guy in this game. And Roy's not thinking that anybody gives a 100-yard rusher this Sunday. We just don't have the consistency at this point. So, boy, you guys are blowing it up. Ernie's believing. Appreciate it. I want to get over to the defensive side on the second half of the hour. Karen saying we just need a nice mix of run and pass with some spread it across the field. I think this is one of the opportunities that we have, Karen, to we kind of pointed out a little bit. Albert pointed out we have opportunity to be layered as far as our passing game is concerned. We have ability to take the top off if we want to versus this team. We have the ability to have that 15, 20-yard pass. We have the ability to be over the middle. This team has opportunities for Bo Nix to be on schedule and on time with his passing game. Now, whether we can be on time and on schedule with this entire offense, with the running game included, that will be probably the biggest test as far as this Denver Broncos offense is concerned, by far. But I'm in 100% agreement with both what you said, Trevor, and what Albert said. This could be a huge game for Bo Nix. This could rest on the shoulders, quite honestly, of one Bo Nix, because it could be a track meet. It could end up being a little bit of a track meet. We'll get over to the Baltimore offense and this Denver Bronco defense as well. Got to say hello just really quick to my good friend Jeremy Dressler, is coming in and saying, "Sup, fellas, and go Broncos." Good to see you, my good friend Jeremy. And it's also good to see Morgan Trinkets. I've been telling you guys for a few episodes, and I think we've got it almost all sorted out. But Morgan Trinkets had some issues online, but they're still an amazing. I still want to tell you all about them. Once we get everything up and running, you're going to have the links all up here, and we're going to get you all set up. But I can't go without telling you all about Morgan Trinkets and what an amazing company they are. 33 years experience in Southwest jewelry, Southwest pottery, and estate gold at wholesale prices. They've been hanging out in your backyard all summer, doing amazing shows in northern Colorado, southern Wyoming. Hundreds, maybe thousands of happy customers have walked away with their items. And plus, they usually have this amazing online presence that will be back up and running as well, where they take online payments and ship it all out to you as well. Get excited. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the information to you, hopefully in the next couple of podcasts here, about where you can go in order to get the amazing Southwest jewelry, Southwest pottery, and estate gold wholesale prices. It's our good friend Pearl. Again, unfortunately, hackers are out there. Bad people are out there. They got Miss Pearl, and she's getting everything up and running. I just want to make sure we have a good, secure platform that we can send you to, because we've had so many happy customers. We've had happy customers as posse members, as horsemen, as you name it. Morgan Trinkets, Pearl, what they do over there is amazing. We'll get you all that information, but they're still an amazing sponsor. You need to hear about them every single moment we possibly can. So, man, I feel like I've been talking too much. So, Trevor, I'm going to hand you the microphone. You're the last one to talk for just a second. I just want you to start talking about this Baltimore offense. It's almost legendary already through the 2024-2025 season of what we've seen so far. I'm not going to put them on a legendary status overall, but in this season, they're doing things that a lot of teams would like to be doing. What are your thoughts about this Baltimore offense? And we'll get into how this Denver defense is going to try to stack up against them as well, man.
Yeah, before I get to the defense, I just want to address Graham's comment as well about Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams is going to see the field more than Jaleel McLaughlin. You want to know why? Because Javonte Williams can be used in the passing game, and he's a way better pass blocker than Jaleel McLaughlin is. Jaleel McLaughlin is very limited to what he can do, so that's why you won't see McLaughlin out there as much. That's why Javonte likely will get you'll see him out there more often, and he'll get more of the snaps. More than again a guy like Jaleel McLaughlin, and Audric Esme's just got to clean up the fumbles. You can't fumble the football, and I don't think that's made Sean Payton too happy. But turning over to the the Ravens offense, yeah. Here's the thing for me. I mean, they just got so many weapons. I mean, it's not just Lamar Jackson, though. It's Derrick Henry. I mean, he's almost at 1,000 yards this season already. With 946 yards, 6.5 average yards per game per gain on the ground. And then again, you got Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews. So I mean, you just got so many weapons for Lamar Jackson to take advantage of. Even if he can't be mobile, he still has an arm and a very, very elite arm. He's got weapons around him. They can definitely help him. But I think it's going to start with Mr. Derrick Henry. I mean, there's a reason they're leaning on him. And just in the run game, there's a reason he almost has 1,000 yards this season. There's not a lot of running backs that are even close to that right now. He is one of those guys that leads the league in rushing yards right now. And he does it for a reason. That's just such a great tandem. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry might be the best signing of the offseason, in my opinion, would be Mr. Derrick Henry. It's going to be something that this Broncos defense is going to be challenged with as far as stopping Derrick Henry, and making Lamar Jackson beat you. So in this one, again, make Lamar Jackson throw the football. I mean, this is play to the strengths of your defense. I know there's no really right way to kind of handle Lamar Jackson because he's so mobile. But I think for me, make him throw the football. That's where this Broncos defense excels at, is in the passing game, getting after the quarterback, and also just, again, turnovers and whatnot. So for me, you just got to contain Lamar Jackson. You got to contain Derrick Henry, and let's see how many weapons Lamar Jackson can throw to, and hopefully this Broncos defense can play to their strengths, and keep Lamar Jackson and this offense, Baltimore Ravens offense, at bay.
Yeah. It's going to be a huge challenge, man. I think it's going to be a huge challenge. You went over some of those weapons at the disposal of one Lamar Jackson, and he's a weapon in and of himself. Just want to hit real quick, man. We're all about love and respect of all of our brethren out there, to all 32 teams. We try to bring it to you and bring it to you real. I think this Baltimore, like we've been saying, this Baltimore team is for real. KW is coming over on YouTube, flashing maybe a little bit of hatred, or maybe just calling it like he maybe sees it. I'm not sure which one it is, but I just want to say, always welcome to come in here as long as we're respectful. He's saying Bo will be the leading rusher and rack up garbage yards. This game will be worse than the Chargers game, in his opinion. So, or KW, him or her. I'm not sure exactly who we're talking to, but there is an opportunity for Bo Nix to get some yards in this game. And if this I know we're kind of rewinding just a little bit. If this Denver Broncos offense can't get any type of running game going, then it's going to be Bo Nix probably being the leading rusher. We've already seen that a few times, and that could certainly be the case in this game. Now, whether those are garbage yards or meaningful yards, that'll be remain to be seen, because it's not, again, I think there's opportunity for this Denver Broncos team to get going offensively just as much as there is for the Baltimore offense to get going, rolling and going offensively as well. So, Albert, rolling right into you, man. We're talking about one of the leading rushers in the league, one of the most brutal rushers. We're talking about a quarterback that was once just a mobile quarterback, but now is able to really be able to deliver the ball down the field, and a guy that has a ton of weapons at his disposal. I mean, honestly, you can kind of go down the list and say, I'd take that guy, I'd take that guy, I'd take that guy. It's going to be tough to go up against this Baltimore offense and all their weapons, but we do have one of the best defenses. What is your expectation as we kind of, meet up there in Baltimore at 11 a.m.?
I am not that scared anymore of Henry, Derrick Henry, because right now, last year, I would have been, really scared because we were a sieve. But now with the Roach there, Franklin Myers, Quan Alexander, they are able to pick up those runs. Yeah, you have a missed run, and Derrick Henry might have a big play, probably. But if you attack the line of offense, and this is, as long as Derrick Henry doesn't get up to speed, he's not that big of a weapon. But once he's on speed, then he's hard to stop. But most of our attacks from the defense are done within 2.5 seconds. We are driving the offensive line back, and because of that speed, I think that is why you can handle Derrick Henry. And we have to keep blitzing Lamar Jackson, because if you keep him very busy in the pocket, running around a little bit, at some time he will tire out too. You cannot defend all blitzes, and you will get hurt. So it's going to happen. I'm not that afraid of their offense. Yeah, does he have nicer weapons than Bo Nix? Absolutely, but our defense can handle it.
Very good. Graham keeps switching us to the other side of the ball. He's just pointing out that the Baltimore Ravens do have a great safety in one, Mr. Kyle Hamilton, that we'll have to watch out for back there. But that being said, Trevor, I just wanted to point out right now, doesn't look like we were going to see a PJ Locke back there, right? And he's not the only one that's out as far as safety is concerned. DeLauren Turner-Yell is also out. So we're starting to get a little knocked back as far as safety is concerned. I know that we just got done talking about Derrick Henry and, how he can expose us as far as the run game concerned. Is there concern now that we have safety issues, on top of one of the top passers in the league and one Lamar Jackson as well? Does that draw a concern from you, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to draw concern too. I think if for being realistic here, because again, this is one of the more explosive offenses in the league that the Broncos have faced this year so far. You can argue that very much so. I think that Seattle's offense is kind of underrated a little bit, but this isn't compared to what that team is. You have an MVP candidate in Lamar Jackson, who's very mobile, throws the football very well, and you have a guy in there, Henry, that is one of the best, if not the best, running back in the league right now. So it's just this defense is going to get tested. I think they're going to get tested on the ground game, and they're going to get tested in the air. And you have injuries they're starting to kind of pile up for both teams, I would say. Right now, PJ Locke. Even though I've been a little critical on PJ Locke this year, I think that there's definitely you can definitely replace him a little bit on this team. I don't think that he's irreplaceable. He's a rotational safety, in my opinion. That is having to start this year for this team. So I think that this defense can get along just fine without him. But again, injuries are kind of starting to stack up a little bit in the secondary, and you don't want to see that going up against this. Two of the best quarterbacks in the league in the next couple of weeks, right? Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. So, I think it's definitely a concern, but I wouldn't be too concerned about it right now. Just because of what PJ Locke is, and I think you have enough depth there, in the secondary. But for what the quarterbacks that you're going up against the next couple of weeks, this defense all around is going to get very much so tested on how great they are.
I had my mic off. I never do that, man. But you're absolutely right. I think that there's big tests all the way around, and this is going to be one of them. I thought about this last week. I said this was a get right game. And one of the guys that absolutely got right was Bo Nix. He started going out there, getting everything right. His feet look right. His form look right. His decisions look right. He was out there dealing versus the Carolina Panthers. It was a get right game. He was just one example of how we got right in this game. This is a prove it game right here, guys. This is a prove it. It's a 5-3 team versus a 5-3 team. It's a team that's got MVPs possibly loaded up and down it in the Baltimore Ravens versus the up and coming Denver Broncos, right? It's the team that was destined for the Super Bowl in the very beginning of the season before we ever played a game versus a team that was expected to be maybe one among the absolute worst. And here we are tied going in and needing a win if we want to stay in the playoff hunt. There's no reason, as we both sit here at 5-3 teams, that I don't think that we shouldn't be going out there thinking we can absolutely compete, that we can absolutely win this game. And I don't care if we're on the road because, gosh darn it, we play better on the road anyway. So let's go out there and get a win versus the Baltimore Ravens. I'm excited about what we're going into. And I know there's a lot of questions about, hey, what are your guys' thoughts? How are we going to be in this game? I told Albert, though, man, this is a kind of a back and forth in my mind. There's a back and forth in my mind as we start to roll around. But this Denver Bronco defense is going to be absolutely key, guys. It's going to be absolutely key. What we do versus the running game is going to be key. What we do versus Lamar Jackson is going to be key. I don't know if this is the game that we're going, right up field and trying to just get after the quarterback like we've seen against a lot of these other quarterbacks. It's a Lamar Jackson that you don't necessarily a lot of times play that way, again, especially now that he's dealing down the field. He has escapability. He can still deliver down the field. He's got weapons. I don't know. I hate for things to change. And I remember Karen was in here just a little bit earlier saying it's time for Vance Joseph to get his respect as a head coach again after the debacle that he once had. But this is a game that I could see a scheme a little bit change a little bit in order to try to contain. I would like to get your guys' thoughts on this. Is this a game that you change what you've been doing? And if you do you go more conservative or do you go more aggressive? Albert, I'm going to get your thoughts on this. Which way do you think VJ goes? As he's been, more aggressive, more conservative? Which way would you play it, man?
I think as he was in the first 3-4 games, a lot of pressure on the QB. We have seen some games like against Johnny Herbert that he reduced the pressure on it, and we lost that game. And I think we need to put more pressure on the quarterbacks. Johnny Herbert, he can be a dual threat, and we didn't pick up on it, and we didn't use it. So I think we need to put a lot of pressure on it, and rely on those the three people in the back in the secondary, and stop the run.
Absolutely. Okay. Very good. I like it. Your thoughts, Trevor? I'm not going to leave you out on this. What are your thoughts on this as well, man? How do you think that the VJ and the defense plays this? Do you think it's the same that we saw kind of that first 4 games, like Albert's talking? Do you think it's more aggressive? Do you think it's more conservative? How would you play versus this Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry led team?
Yeah, that's a great question, honestly. Because not to sit here and kind of say what Sean Payton says. Great question to the local media. No, but I mean, for me, you got to try your best to try to contain Lamar Jackson. I just don't know what that exactly looks like as far as contain Lamar Jackson. They're gonna put up points. For me, this goes back to what I said a couple weeks back. The defense is there's gonna be some games down the road where the defense is not gonna be able to win you games. You're gonna have to rely on that offense to start stepping up and do their part as well. And I think that's one of these games. I mean, you're gonna it might come down to a turnover or so, but I just think that you're gonna have to score. I mean, it doesn't matter what this defense does in a way, because if this offense can't score, you're putting your defense in a real bad situation. So for me, I think again, VJ's probably going to do what he's continuing to do all year long. I don't know that he's going to change that per se, because it's worked up to this point. So I don't know. It's one of those things that if it ain't broke, don't fix it type thing. If that's the case, then I don't think that he probably changes it. I still think that you want to put pressure on Lamar Jackson and really put that Baltimore Ravens offensive line to test. And again, try to stack the box against Derrick Henry and try to stop him and make sure Lamar Jackson is the one and only guy that can potentially beat you with his arm. But it's a tall task. I just don't know what that looks like as far as containing him in this game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I think it's going to come down to, hey, can Denver's offense live up to par and do their part for the first time this year in a long time this year, against I should say a more competitive opponent, I should say, in the Baltimore Ravens. I know that Carolina Panthers and Saints, I get that, but the Ravens are on a different pedestal than those two teams. So I mean, we shall see. I think that again, just offense is what it's going to come down to. Maybe a few turnovers, maybe, but I don't think VJ changes anything too much in a week's time. I think it's a little hard for you to ask your guys to completely change from what they've done all year long and what has given them success for most of the year.
Very good. Michael Pack coming in on YouTube is kind of an agreement. He says, all I can say is we cannot hang your hat on Javonte. He could have a great game, but I wouldn't bet on it. But he says, you're right. This game depends on Bo and his receivers as well as that defense. So want to get just to a few more comments because, again, Posse, you guys are absolutely amazing. Love all the comments and questions and ideas and side chats that we're having come into this game. KW's been harsh, but I think this is right on line. He says this will be a measuring stick game. Are the Broncos for real, or have they benefited from playing some 5 bad or injured teams along the way? There's something to be said about this. This is a prove it type of game. Karen's coming in on YouTube. She says we are both 5-3 teams, and one just lost to a not so good team. There are flaws that can be exploited, and that's her thoughts upon the Cleveland Browns being able to beat that Baltimore team. Also saying, I think we can hold them to a couple of field goals, a couple of times to just field goals. We do have a nice defense. So lots of thoughts coming in here. I know that we're almost getting into it. I see Patrick's coming in here and he's saying he's got to run. I threw a couple of comments on, but I haven't even acknowledged him yet. Patrick Wiltsey of the amazing Lion Coffee. If you haven't checked out Lion Coffee and you're a coffee lover, you're just missing out. I'll say that really quick. Got to run, he says. Work is over. Giving us those coffee and emojis. See you after the game on Sunday. Reminding me to tell you all about that later. But his prediction, and we need to start getting these in here. I'll get them all queued up now. 24-20 Broncos over the Baltimore Ravens, and a close one. A pretty high scoring game, but nothing too crazy. Patrick, thank you so much. And thank you so much for, the lovely beans. Let's just put it that way. You guys are amazing over there at Lion Coffee. And Patrick, we don't just love you for your coffee. Thank you every moment that you come in here and comment and be a part of the posse. We love you an absolute ton. Denver Bronco defense, they're going to have their hands full. Denver Bronco offense, they're going to have opportunities. Baltimore offense, they're going up against one of their biggest opponents at this point. They haven't went up against a top 5 defense in my recollection, I should say. And then you have, the Baltimore defense who's looking good on one side of the equation, but not the other. So this is a key matchup, and I think it's going to be an epic matchup. Can't wait to watch this game. Can't wait to see all the predictions come in. I do want to get some final thoughts around this game. Not final thoughts, but final thoughts around this game before we get into predictions. And Albert, I'll start with you on that.
I think one aspect has been totally overlooked. I think our special teams are going to have a big, big impact in this game, because I think the Broncos special teams are top 5 in the league. And so I think we do not talk to him about too much, but Lutz, one of the best kickers. I think the punter, those two do phenomenal. And I think the special teams are going to have a big impact in this game as well.
Yeah. Paul probably saw the same little interview that I saw. Vance described having a hunter. The big question was around, do you keep a spy? He's like, not in the traditional sense, not a guy that just sits back there and just sits there and watches Lamar Jackson throw all over you. You had to have a guy that's out there and as aggressive as a spy, chasing Lamar off a spot and possibly being that hunter. I just wanted to give that a little bit of context. Kenny Kirkpatrick of the amazing K&K Sports Show. I know that I missed a comment earlier. I wanted to get to him as well, but K&K Sports Show is our amazing cousins, amazing brethren right here in the podcast world. We show up on their show. They show up on ours. Check out the K&K Sports Show. If you're looking for a little bit of baseball action, especially with the World Series, all heated up and going on and everyone talking about it as of lately, that's the place to go right now. Whether you're looking for any of your sports, you want to go high school to professional, they got it all. So check them out. He says, on the road against a top team, more aggressive in my opinion, and get the crowd out of the game. He's looking for aggression early and being aggressive there in the defenses as well, not laying back and letting anybody deal. Trevor, some final thoughts around this game before we get into some predictions, and then some final thoughts before we get out of here.
Yeah, so again, the Broncos, going back to the Van Joseph, and if he's going to change up, potentially blitzing or not, the Broncos are second in the NFL in times blitzed. 115 times they've blitzed this season per NFL Pro Football Reference. So again, it's just one of those things. I just don't think Van Joseph's going to be conservative in this game. I think he's going to try to attack Lamar Jackson. I would keep an eye on that injury with Lamar Jackson in his back and whatnot. Again, he's a mobile quarterback, but he also, has had injuries in the past where, it's kind of affected him. So I just something to keep an eye on. Who knows how big of an injury it is or not. They're never going to come out and say, we're just going to have to see it on the field. But no, I think, again, this Denver defense is going to get tested. This team in general is going to get tested offensively as well. Offense has got to do their part. The last couple of weeks, they've tried to, they've been able to build momentum, over the Saints, over the Carolina Panthers, and you took advantage of that. Now it's time to continue to build upon that and prove the doubters wrong. If you are you're the underdog in this game, right? So go out there, prove the doubters wrong. Bo Nix, Sean Payton, this whole Broncos team, go prove that you can go beat, a Baltimore Ravens team, a team that could be, very much so a Super Bowl contender this year. Go out there and prove it. That's one way to shut up, the haters, pretty much, silence the haters, I should say, in a nice way. That's just one way to do it. And I think that this team can do it. They're going to be put to the test more than they ever have, I think, this year, especially on the defense side of the ball. But I think that they can do it. And the momentum that they've going into this game, you're on a 2-game winning streak as well, against two teams that were injured, but it's okay. You did your job and you outperformed, and you did a great job. So I think it's going to come down to, a few plays on defense, and can the offense keep up with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and the rest of the Baltimore Ravens offense?
KW is coming in saying this game, this is a game that the offense and Bo Nix must win. Sean Payton, coach the best game of the year. So he's not a hater, just a realist. KW is coming in here, and I think they're speaking the truth. This needs to be a game that Bo Nix wins. I think it's going to be a Bo Nix type of shoulder type of game. This is going to be a big prove it type of game. I'll go back to it, prove it type of game. And Sean Payton needs to be coaching one of the best games out there in order to try to keep pace, I think, in this game. So I got to get to some of these predictions, though. You guys are amazing. I appreciate y'all. And let's see what do we? I all of a sudden I lost almost all of them. Kenny Kirkpatrick's coming in. He's saying banged up linebacker for Broncos. I'm watching for the most. Ravens have two really good tight ends to cover the Broncos. He says Broncos 23, Ravens 21. Thank you, Kenny Kirkpatrick. No matter how badly I massacred your comment there. Ernie Mays is coming in. He's got a 21-10 Broncos win. Mr. Roy Osborne saying the Ravens have too much on offense and we are on the road. He's predicting a loss for our Broncos, 24-17. And I know we had some earlier ones in here. I did know that our good friend Jody, the fourth horseman, he came in here. He's predicted one of the bigger ones I've seen. 31-17, Denver Broncos win. Man, that would be nice. That would be nice. And don't forget about Patrick Wilsey with his 24-20 prediction that he came in as well. If I missed an earlier one, it's really tough to scroll all the way back through, but I got to get some predictions from our guys right here on the screen, the horsemen themselves. Albert, we went back right before we went live and we were talking about this. Albert, when we did our preseason prediction of the Denver Broncos, there was a few chuckles. Albert was maybe being called a little bit of a Denver Bronco homer, but I pointed out the fact that he only had two games in which he predicted a win, in which nobody else did, in which no other horseman went out there and said, I also don't think I also think they'll win this game. There was only two games. This was one of those games. Albert, you predicted a win before the season started versus this Baltimore Ravens team. Now I got to get down to it this evening. What are your thoughts this evening? We'll see if anybody else changes their mind.
I still think the Broncos are going to win it. Our punter, Riley Moss.
Dixon.
I know. He will pin the Baltimore's a couple times within their 10-yard zone. But yeah, no, I'm going to win predict a win here. It's going to be a tough win. It could be just with one field goal. I'll say 27-24.
27-24. I write these down.
Mm-hmm.
And Jody, we already know, changed. He predicted a loss at the very beginning of the season. And he's already predicted one of the biggest wins for the Denver Broncos at this point. So now I go over to Trevor. And I see if he's had a little change of heart throughout this season that's seen the Broncos rise up a little bit. Trevor, are you predicting a Denver Broncos win or a Denver Broncos loss? Love to get your thoughts on this highly competitive game, I think.
Well, I hope I'm wrong with my prediction, but I have a 28-21 Baltimore Ravens win over the Denver Broncos. Unfortunately, in this one, again, I hope I'm wrong, but I think this is just one of the toughest offenses Denver's have to face this year, and it's just a tall task from what they've had to face over the last couple of weeks. I think this is a good momentum pusher. I think, with the past couple of wins they've been able to get to, but let's face it, this is just this is elite. This is an elite offense, and this defense is going to be put to the test. Vance Joseph is going to be put to the test. So we'll see if Sean Payton, the offense, can keep up, and Bo Nix is a tall task for him as well, going on the road and gets in Baltimore. that very tough place to play as well. So I think it's going to be a close. So I don't think it's going to be a blow up by any means, which I think is a good thing. It tells you how close this Denver Broncos football team is, being that they're competing against a team in Baltimore Ravens that is, from a lot of different people around the national media are thinking that the Baltimore Ravens can be a Super Bowl contender per se. So I think that just goes to show that how close this Broncos team is to being right there. But unfortunately, in this one, I think that's going to be a Baltimore Ravens win on the at home against the Broncos. I just think that's just such a tough offense to stop, and I think it'll be close though, and I think hopefully again. If they can go 1-on-1 on the road before coming back home to Denver, I think the Broncos are still in great shape. I think they match up much better against the Kansas City Chiefs than I think against the Baltimore Ravens.
Scott thinks it's going to be a tough matchup too, man. That was a tight one from you, 28-21, but he thinks it's even tighter, 27-25 with the Denver Broncos winning. We got Dan coming in a little bit late and saying good evening. I've seen a little bit about this. Everyone's kind of hoping that we see maybe a little A.T. Perry maybe siding at some point. Got Dan coming in with his prediction saying Broncos 30, Baltimore's 20. 21-20 either way, says Pearl. I'm not sure if that means it could go either way for either team. Our good friend Phil McLaughlin, who dropped stars earlier, and not sure if you did now. I've been having a hard time keeping up, but 24-21 Denver Broncos win for him. Man. Boy, I want to make sure I just didn't miss anything. I appreciate all the comments and all the different names that we've seen in here this evening. It's been tough keeping up, and you guys have been absolutely amazing. I got to get my prediction in. I ended up changing at the last second. Like I said, I've been back and forth and back and forth. This is a prove-it game, and I think you guys are absolutely right on. Albert, Trevor, I think that, the Baltimore Ravens putting up somewhere in the range of 24 to 28 points is right about on path. I think they're going to put up 27 points in this game. But the Denver Broncos are going to prove it. They're hanging 35 points in this game, man. They come out there, they put up an offensive performance. Their defense may not look that great, putting up 27 points, but man, I think there's going to be talk. If this is the time to prove it, this is the time to do it, Denver Broncos, because I tell you what, you get a win here and then you head out to KC, look out, baby. Look out. I'm pulling a big one. I'm turning around as well, Albert. Yeah, there it is, man. You're the only one who predicted a win. Me and Jody have now joined you. Trevor's still predicting a loss, hoping he's wrong. So I'll go ahead and I'll give him some final thoughts first, man. What are your thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't mean to, be the Debbie Downer here, but again, I just need to see it. I need to see it from both sides of the ball going forward. I think the defense is legit. I just think the Broncos' offense is what concerns me the most.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had to keep up with an elite offense like the Baltimore Ravens offense, and for the Denver defense, they just haven't seen that elite of an offense this year, in my opinion, as of yet, anyway. So I just think that they need to see it first and foremost, and hopefully they'll be better in the long run for it. Whether win or loss, whatever. Again, for me, it's not just about, of course we want the Broncos to win every single game possible, but again, for me, if you even split on the road against Baltimore and Kansas City, this team's still in great shape, by no means. And I think they just match up better against Kansas City than they do Baltimore, because I don't think Kansas City is the same Kansas City Chiefs that they were a couple years ago or even last year, in my opinion. So I just think that the Broncos, it's going to be a tough one in this one, but I think that they'll become better because of it. And again, it's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be a close game. I could see it going either way. Honestly, I really could. But the Broncos, I just don't think they're quite on the Baltimore Ravens level as of right now. But that doesn't mean they can't get there going forward in the future. Again, this is still rookie quarterback in Bo Nix. Give him time. Give this team time. And I think they can get there. This is just one of those tough opponents. It's going to help make them better, and hopefully for the long haul, not for this game, but for the long haul. Doesn't mean that the Broncos lose this game. That doesn't mean they can't go to the playoffs, or there's not a realistic chance that they can make the playoffs.
Very good, buddy. Take another 30 seconds. I'm going to give you some goodbyes to the posse, and then I'll get over to Albert, get his final thoughts and roundup, and then I'll get us completely out of here. How's about that? All right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and go with it, buddy.
Yeah, no, I just want to appreciate everybody for coming in, joining the show tonight. Whether you're for a Broncos win or for a Broncos loss, being realistic, or just wanting to hope for the best for this football team and go for a win. Again, either way, we all have our different opinions. I'm glad everybody can respect each other and have those different opinions and talk football. Always appreciate everybody in the posse just being awesome. This is why we do it. Honestly, we love you guys, and this is we're going to continue to do even better shows going forward for you guys. And we'll be turn around, on Sunday and do a post game as well. So be sure to tune into that. Hope everybody has hopefully everybody had a great Halloween, and hopefully everybody has a great weekend. Be safe out there, stay warm, and as always, go Broncos.
Absolutely. I'm enjoying my M&M. Oh, well, that's unofficially sponsored. Never mind. I'm enjoying my candy-covered chocolate from the Halloween as we speak. Albert, man, we've been rocking here this evening. We've had tons of fun. We've had lots of new posse members join in here. We get Karen jumping in here last minute with a 24-22 Denver Broncos win, and we love that. We got even Clayton coming in here late, and hey, smash and like that share button. But Albert, we do need to get wrapped up. We're going already a little bit over. We got to say goodbye. You always do it wonderfully. What do you have to say this evening, sir?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game, but the Stampede is going to run the Ravens flat, so the wings will be clipped. So that is a good show. Trevor is a minority between him and two others. He thinks that the Broncos will lose, and everybody else thinks the Broncos are winning. And yeah, we have to keep that attitude. The Broncos are winning this weekend. And we had 5 new names in the posse tonight. At least for me, they were new. Jesus Save, Sean Ward, KW, Michael Pack, Douglas Wall. And we want to thank you and all the others as well. Paul, Scott, Ernie, Roy, Graham, Pearl, Phil, Michelle, my lovely wife, Karen, Jeremy, Patrick, Kenny, Jody, Dan, Biggie, Bronco, Clayton. Yeah, it is always such a pleasure to see you all in the chat because, yeah, as I always say, we might come up with an agenda. Today it was just the focus on the Broncos and the Raiders. How are they going to do? And then you guys bring up all kinds of subjects that we can talk about and expand our knowledge and talk abilities. So thank you all for being in the chat, and we are looking forward to see you on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We'll be stoked to see you on Sunday. I'll get to that in just a second. Phil's rocking us out with some stars. He's saying, let's remember the Raiders 26, Ravens 23. I know we can do better. Clayton saying, bow time, baby. Been saying all season, true test, but our D is going to have to play like we do, and you just saw what Bo can do. Win by us 10 by 10, 27-17 us. So that's his prediction. So I like this too. Close game makes it fun. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Trevor, final thoughts, man. Albert's busting your chops over some being maybe a little bit more skeptical, maybe being a little bit more reasonable. I know if you go out there and you look at the line, I think we're looking at we're not looking all that good if we're going on the road against the Baltimore Ravens, but I appreciate you guys, man. That's what I love about our horsemen, man. We're all different personalities. We have all different thought processes, just like our posse. You guys come in here. We have KW, who's very skeptical. We have others that are ready to take Bo Nix and ride them all the way to the Super Bowl. So, Trevor, man, let's get some final thoughts. Let's get you out of here, and then I'll jump out as well, man.
Well, I just give my final thoughts, but I just
that's oops. Oh, sorry. That's all right, man.
No, just one quick little point. No, I again, I hope that my predictions, I'm off on my prediction. I don't want to be right, but again, I just think we have to be realistic on where this football team is at. This is a and then Ernie says, I love the Ravens. Not sure. Look at the hat, Ernie. But no, again, this is a very tough opponent, and that's fine. The Broncos aren't going to win every single week. I just think that, it's something that just go out there and prove it.
Yep.
past couple opponents have been, very much so in the Broncos' favor. They haven't seen an elite offense like this all this season. So, just go out there and prove it and prove me wrong. That's what I want to do. I'm skeptical up until Broncos win. That's what I'm hoping for. Hoping my prediction is wrong though. But again, the Chiefs matchup is still very favorable, and I think 1-1, I will still take a 1-1 road trip. For the Denver Broncos this season.
I didn't mean to give 2 final words to Trevor. I mean, the guy can talk. I mean, we don't need to give him 2 final words. I'm just kidding, Trevor. Albert, thank you so much. Trevor, thank you so much. The amazing Posse, thank you so much. This is the Denver Bronco Roundup. We're brought to you by Rocky Mountain Sports Network. We're sponsored by Morgan Trinkets. We put on 3 amazing shows every single week, man. We come on every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. Every Friday, 7:30 Mountain Daylight Time. And then we do an amazing post-game show on Sundays. Don't forget to catch us this Sunday, man. Can't wait to be talking about the Baltimore Ravens, the Denver Broncos. What went down in this game? Was the Denver Broncos offense able to stand up? Were the Denver Broncos defense able to stand up? Did we get the win? Did we get the loss? Get all your reactions. It's one of the funnest shows that we have all week, man. Even though this one is amazing, this is another fun show. Every Friday, every Tuesday, every Sunday. Don't forget to check us out. We got to get out of here. Appreciate all the love this evening, man. All the views, all the thoughts. Can't wait to get back on here again. I don't know why my mouth's watering like 100 miles an hour, and that's why I'm talking like the way I am. But that being said, got to get out of here. Love you all so much, man. Thank you so much for the stars, those who were able to give it. I do know I saw Phil. We're trying to catch a couple of different feeds, so if I missed you, appreciate you so much for jumping in here. All the comments, all the thoughts. We get out of here one way and one way only. Remember, keep those feet in the stirrups, keep your guns in your holsters, and keep the Denver Broncos in your heart. We're going to get out of here. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you soon.